Ah, baby, all this water just to make garri for the both of us. You're wasting both my water and gas. Oh, do you know how much 1 liter of gas costs? Mama, I'm tired of this marriage. Your son is very stingy. Mama, can you imagine? Your son counts the sachet water in the fridge. He makes sure I don't drink more than 2 sachets of water in a day. He goes to the market by himself so that I will not cheat him. Mama, he counts the number of meat in our pot of soup. I'm tired though. Many years ago, in the bustling heart of Lagos, there lived a man named Joshua. A man whose name alone turned heads and stopped hearts. With the kind of wealth that made people whisper and the kind of face that had women second-guessing their relationships, Joshua was what you call Lagos Fine, the looks edition. An importer of Italian shoes, sleek electronics, and appliances that could make a bachelor pad look like a mansion in Ikoyi. He had built an empire from scratch. And boy, did he look good doing it. But behind the glitz, behind the Rolex watch that ticked like it had secrets, Joshua carried a flaw so fatal, it scared romance away like a bad bread. He was stingy. Not regular stingy. Not, let me think about it stingy. No. Joshua was the kind of man who could negotiate the price of love itself. He treated money like a fragile, endangered species, only to be released in emergencies. Gifts, nah. Surprises, only if they were free. Roses, only if they grew in his backyard. This man had only 2 shirts and 2 trousers. Rotation game so strong, you'd think it was a uniform. Monday to Thursday, blue shirt. Friday to Sunday, that faithful white one that had seen better years. When asked why he didn't upgrade, Joshua would quote his personal philosophy: buying plenty clothes is an invitation to spend on dry cleaning, not trap. But his thriftiness came at a price. One by one, the women dipped. The longest relationship Joshua ever had, 1 month and 5 days. A full romantic crash course in frugality. They all leapt, exhausted, frustrated, and clutching their handbags with tears and receipts. At first, Joshua didn't flinch. He told himself, they only wanted my money anyway, and carried on. But time did what time does. It made him reflect. Now pushing 40, Joshua began to feel the cold bite of loneliness. He had cars, a house with granite tiles, even a TV, big enough to be mistaken for a cinema screen, but no one to share it with. The silence in his mansion echoed louder than his bank alerts. And so, one gloomy Sunday morning, he picked up the phone and did something he hadn't done in years. He called his mother. Mama, his voice cracked slightly. I need a wife. The old woman on the other end paused for a moment. A wife? She repeated. Joshua, are you serious? Yes, Mama, but not one of these Lagos girls. Their eyes shine like torchlight anytime they hear importer. I need a good girl. Humble, from the village, no wahala. I don't want problem. His mother, wise as she was, didn't hide her doubts. My son, finding a wife no be problem oh, but really take care of her. You know say this your hand tight past padlock. I don't tell you. Women love to be pampered though. They love money. Mama, he sighed. If she has good character, I would try. Just help me find someone. And just like that, Mama Joshua began the search. She went deep into the village beyond the hills and the echoes of motorbikes, where the girls still watched clothes by the stream and believed love was measured by how a man treated his elders. Mama knew her son wouldn't change. His stinginess was baked into his bones, but she hoped to find a girl soft enough, naive enough to bear it. She wanted her son married, and if love couldn't fix him, maybe simplicity would. After weeks of silent observation and careful whisperings in the village, Mama Joshua finally found her. A girl who seemed almost carved out of her prayers. Her name was Susan. Young, quiet, graceful, with a kind of beauty that didn't shout, but lingered. Susan had just completed her secondary education, but her dreams of university had been boxed up and shelved because of her family's financial struggle. Still, the girl walked with dignity. Her eyes held innocence. Her smile was soft, and she had a kind of homely charm Mama Joshua knew her son wouldn't immediately chase away. Mama wasn't looking for fire. She was looking for obedience, simplicity, a girl who wouldn't ask too many questions. So, one warm evening, wrapped in her best wrapper and armed with the kind of diplomacy only a seasoned mother could wield, Mama Joshua marched to Susan's family's compound. "Papa Susan," she began, voice smooth like oil on hot yam, "I've come to pluck a flower from your garden. There is a beautiful rose blooming here, and my son Joshua in the city. He wants to make her his wife." Susan's parents blinked, then smiled. Joshua? That name dropped like gold into the silence. That's Lagos big man. The one with shops in Alaba. The one who drove a black jeep. They didn't even need to think twice. "This is God's doing," Papa Susan said, already seeing a future where poverty was just a memory. If Joshua married their daughter, the family would finally eat at the table of wealth. And Susan, she'd go back to school, wear nice clothes, and live in a house where rain never leaked through the roof. That night, they gave Mama Joshua their answer. Yes, let's begin the arrangements. But when Susan heard what had been agreed behind her back, she was livid. "Mama, Papa, I don't even know this man. I want to go to the university, not get married," she cried. Her mother took her hands, eyes already glossed with dreams. "My daughter, this is not just marriage. This is opportunity. Joshua is rich. He will send you to school. You will live in comfort, and your life will change forever." And slowly, like fog lifting from a mountain, Susan began to see the picture too. What was love compared to security? And if she was lucky, maybe this man would even love her. Maybe, if only she knew. 3 weeks later, Joshua arrived in the village with his usual stoic charm and an air of wealth that made even the trees stand still. When he laid eyes on Susan, his breath caught. She was stunning, soft-skinned, wide-eyed, with curves that made his throat dry. Mama really outdid herself this time, he thought. Susan, on the other hand, had been expecting someone older, possibly pot-bellied, but what she saw made her heart somersault. Joshua was young, clean-cut, and dressed in native that fit him like second skin. Rich, handsome, and her husband-to-be. Her knees nearly gave out. She felt like the lead actress in a village fairy tale. The traditional rites followed swiftly. Drinks flowed, music played, and Susan was led out like a queen. Joshua took her hand, whispered something charming into her ear, and by the next morning, they were gone. Off to Lagos in a sleek black SUV that gleamed like a shadow under the sun. When they arrived in Lagos, Susan gasped. The mansion was massive, gates tall enough to guard secrets, floors polished like mirrors, and furniture that looked like they had been imported from a king's palace. She wandered through the house with wide eyes, her mouth slightly open. "This is mine," she whispered to herself. She couldn't stop smiling. Her life had done a complete 180 in just days. That night, she crawled into Joshua's arms thinking, this is what dreams are made of. A soft bed, a wealthy husband, and peace. Finally, peace. But the peace was short-lived. The very next morning, a soft tap on her shoulder pulled her from the depth of sleep. Susan blinked, still wrapped in post-wedding bliss. Joshua was smiling down at her, dressed in an old but neat shirt she didn't recognize. "Wifey, wake up. It's morning," he said sweetly. Susan smiled lazily, then squinted at the wall clock. 4 a.m. What happened?" she mumbled, still heavy with sleep. "My love," he said, brushing her hair gently. "It's time to prepare my breakfast. I need to leave before 7 a.m. You know Lagos traffic doesn't smile. Time is money. Susan sat up slowly, blinking in disbelief. But it's 4 a.m. We just got married yesterday. Shouldn't we rest or even go for a honeymoon? Joshua chuckled like she had said something ridiculous. Nah, my container is arriving today. I need to be available by 6 a.m. Please, my love, go and make breakfast. And I don't eat outside. It's a waste of money. You know I can't function on an empty stomach. Her heart sank. Susan had never woken up this early in her father's house. Certainly not to cook such a heavy meal. But she didn't want to start marriage on a wrong foot. With a fake smile and lips that moved like lead, she dragged herself out of bed and went downstairs to pound yam before dawn broke. As the mortar thudded and the soup simmered, Susan sat barefoot in the kitchen of a mansion, sweating and staring, thinking, is this what they meant by luxury? For months after the wedding, Susan tried to adapt to her new life, but something just didn't feel right. She kept hoping the initial discomfort was just a phase, something all new bride had to endure. But the truth, life with Joshua was becoming a strange, suffocating routine. At first, it was little things, like the fact that Joshua only wore 2 outfits, not 2 favorite outfits, no, just 2. A white shirt for work and 1 checkered shirt with ash trousers he alternated like clockwork. At first, Susan thought he was just being modest or nostalgic. But nah, that wasn't it. Then came the shopping. Joshua never allowed Susan to go to the market, not even once. He would wake up early, dress up in his market uniform, and go shopping himself. Every time Susan brought it up, he would say, Lagos market no be for small girls so. And besides, women they inflate price anyhow. I sabi market price to the last kobo. But the red flags, they truly began waving the day he started counting meats. One fateful evening, Joshua walked into the dining room and saw Susan enjoying a plate of rice and stew. He leaned over casually. At least it seemed casual, then suddenly froze. His eyes narrowed like a hawk spotting prey. He began to count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 meat. He looked at her like she had just committed sacrilege. Ah, baby, only you want finish all my meats? Ah, baby, only you want finish all my meats? You dey eat like landlord we just win court case. Nne, things are hard though. Do you know how much beef is in the market? Talk more of chicken. Do you want to finish all my money? Things are hard though. You have to manage. Susan gave a nervous laugh. She thought he was joking. He wasn't. Before she could blink, Joshua fetched a clean plate, calmly picked up 3 out of the 4 meats and walked away like a man that had just saved his destiny. Susan stared at her now 1 meat plate in disbelief. This couldn't be real. But that was only the beginning. That evening, she was boiling water to make garri for dinner when Joshua barged into the kitchen like a detective catching a criminal in the act. Baby, what is all this water for? He exclaimed, waving his hands in dramatic confusion. You want to make garri or swim inside it? You're wasting both my water and gas. Do you know how much gas costs per liter now? You're supposed to measure the exact amount of water, just enough for the garri to swell and finish, no leftovers. That way, it will save both the water and gas. I don't like this. Money is hard to make in this country. Stop wasting my money. Susan stood frozen, spoon in hand, blinking in pure disbelief. The worst part, it wasn't just meat and water. Joshua counted everything, every grain of rice, every sachet of water in the fridge. If Susan drank more than 2 a day, wahala, too much wahala. Nne, calm down. You won't finish everything? That water in the fridge must last us till next month. You can't be drinking like you dey run marathon. Nne, don't finish my money. We need to manage the foodstuff and water in this house. That foodstuff is for the next 5 months. So you better manage. Money no day. But while he was busy micromanaging food and water like a wartime general, Susan noticed something more painful. He never gave her money. She still wore the same tired outfit she brought from the village. Hairstyles, forget it. There were days Susan looked into the mirror and almost didn't recognize herself. Her once glowing skin had dulled. Her lips were always dry. Even lip gloss was now a luxury she couldn't afford. She tried everything to please him. She cooked his favorite meals, massaged his ego, and swallowed her pain, but nothing worked. One afternoon, exhausted and defeated, she picked up her phone and called the one person who might understand, Mama Joshua. As the phone rang, Mama Joshua stared at her screen. Her heart sank. She didn't even need a prophet to tell her that this call wasn't a good one. "Hello, my daughter. How are you?" "Mama, I'm not fine. I'm not fine at all. Your son is a stingy man, Mama. Can you believe since I entered this house, he has never given me money for upkeep. He buys everything himself. He goes to the market alone so I won't cheat him. Mama, he counts the meat in our soup, sachet water in the fridge, even measure the water to make garri. I'm so free, Mama. I didn't suffer like this in the village, oh." Mama Joshua sighed, long and deep, as if she was about to carry a load with her bread. "My daughter, you just need to be patient." His father was like that too, very disciplined with money. But once you get pregnant, everything will change. Just focus on that, eh? Try and get pregnant. Susan hung up and thought about Mama Joshua's words. Maybe she was right. Maybe a child would melt his frozen heart. From that day forward, Susan changed strategy. She stopped complaining. She woke up at 4 a.m. with no arguments. She pounded yam with her bare hands. She pampered him like a king. And finally, she got pregnant. When she told Joshua, his face lit up like a Christmas tree. He lifted her up in excitement and declared that he was going to be the best father ever. Susan smiled. Maybe, just maybe, change was here. But she was wrong. Weeks passed, and Susan began to have strong cravings. Turkey, ice cream, small chops, shawarma. You know pregnancy things now. One evening, she walked up to him and said sweetly, "Baby, I'm craving turkey and ice cream. Just small one." Joshua's face twisted as if she had asked him to donate a kidney. "Turkey and ice cream? Nne, do you know how much one turkey costs? Do you have long throat? That kind of money can cook 3 pots of soup if you manage well. What's all this? You are pregnant, not possessed." Susan blinked rapidly, unsure whether to laugh or cry. "But honey, the baby wants it. Baby, go and manage the leftover bread in the kitchen. Or better still, hawk pure water to buy the turkey. After all, other women are doing it." Susan sat there, stunned, mouth wide open. That night, she called Mama Joshua again, tears running freely down her face. She told her everything again. Mama Joshua listened quietly, and this time she didn't scold or lecture. She simply signed and said, "I'm sending you some money. Go and buy what you want, my daughter. I'm sorry." But deep inside, Susan knew this man might never change. A few months later, the time had come. Susan was due to give birth. Joshua, unusually jittery, rushed her to the hospital, pacing back and forth in the hallway like a man auditioning for fatherhood in a Nollywood film. He wiped sweat from his brow and whispered to himself, "God, I beg, just one child, one." Hours dragged like years. Finally, the doctor walked out. Joshua sprinted to him. "Doctor, how is my wife? Please talk to me." With a big grin, the doctor said, "Congratulations, Mr. Joshua. Your wife is fine. And you, sir, are now a proud father of triplets." Joshua blinked. "Sorry, you said what?" "Triplets," the doctor repeated, now chuckling. "Ah!" Joseph screamed and collapsed like a falling kola nut tree. The nurses rushed to his aid, sprinkling water on his face. As he got up, he clutched his head. "Doctor, do you know the price of baby milk? Do you know the cost of pampers in this economy? Triplets, doctor, you have ruined me." The doctor, confused but trying to remain professional, simply smiled and led him to Susan. In the ward, Susan glowed with joy. "Joshua, we have 3 sons. Joshua entered, frowning like he just lost an election. "Nne, do you know how much it costs to raise 1 child in Nigeria? And now 3. Baby, this is too much money. Oh. Do you know how much pampers is? Even baby's milk. We have not even started talking about clothes, oh. Baby, this is money, oh. Too much expenses. Expenses everywhere, Joshua cried. Susan stared at him in disbelief. Joshua, some people are praying day and night just for one child, and God gave us 3 healthy boys, and you are here doing accounting. Joshua sighed. You won't understand though. This is a full-blown economic crisis. But life had other plans. Weeks later, Joshua returned home from work one evening, ready to change out his work clothes, when everything went black. He collapsed. Susan found him unconscious and screamed. Within minutes, he was rushed to the hospital. When he woke up, the doctor had the same serious face, the kind that never brings good news. Mr. Joshua, we ran some tests. There's a tumor in your brain. It's inoperable, aggressive. You'll likely just have 4 months left. Joshua's words spun. For 4 months, he whispered, tears blurring his vision. Doctor, are you sure? I'm young. I'm healthy. The doctor nodded solemnly. I'm sorry. There were no signs. Some tumors hide until it's too late. Joshua begged the doctor not to tell his family. He didn't want Susan, a nursing mother, or his aging mother to suffer the panic. He went home a changed man, haunted by the ticking clock in his head. A different Joshua emerged. Gone was a stingy man who hoarded every naira like it was the last leaf on a tree. In his place stood a man who had tested his morality and understood the fleeting nature of life. He wrote a will, transferred his properties to Susan, the triplets, and his mother. Then one evening, he handed Susan a check of 20 million naira. Susan's mouth fell open. Is this for me? Yes, my love. Start any business of your choice. You will need more. I'll add to it. Susan looked around. Was she dreaming? She pinched herself. This was the same man who once said, turkey is not food, it's a waste of resources. Joshua transformed into a doting husband. He took her shopping, bought her jewelries, sent money to her parents, took her out for dinner dates. Life tasted sweet for once, but Susan was worried. She called Mama Joshua. Mama, your son has changed though. He's now treating me like a queen. But something feels off. This kindness came too suddenly. Mama laughed. My daughter, isn't this what we prayed for? Enjoy it. Don't overthink blessings. Still, Susan wasn't convinced. One evening, she confronted Joshua. Honey, what is going on? I'm not complaining, no, but I know you. You are hiding something. Joshua smiled, forcing calm. Is it a crime to spoil my wife and children? I just realized life is short. If I die now, who will enjoy my money? Susan laughed, but deep down she wasn't buying it. The deadline came and passed. Joshua was still alive. In fact, he felt better than ever. Confused, he returned to the hospital for a checkup. After several tests, the doctor's face shifted from serious to stern. Mr. Joshua, we don't know how to explain this, but there is no tumor in your brain. You're perfectly healthy. Joshua's mouth dropped. But you said I had 4 months to live. There must have been a mistake. Months ago, we had an issue with our lab system. Patient's record got mixed up. There were misdiagnoses. We're terribly sorry. Joshua staggered out of the hospital in shock. He went to other hospitals. Same results. He was fine. Back home, tears flowed freely down his cheeks. Susan panicked seeing her husband crying. She rushed to meet him and asked what the problem was. Honey, what is it? Are you okay? I'm okay, Ne. My life had never been better. I just got the greatest news of my life. You remember months ago now, when I fainted and was rushed to the hospital? The doctor told me I had brain tumor, and I had just 4 months to live. Susan froze in shock at his revelation. My husband, are you dying? She cried out. Tears streamed down her face. No, my love, I'm not dying. I'm very healthy. So the 4 months they gave me passed, and I decided to go back to the hospital for checkup. And the doctor told me I was misdiagnosed, that I never had brain tumor. I went to other hospitals too, and they all said I never had brain tumor. I'm so happy. And I've learned a great lesson this past few months, that life is too short to be stingy to yourself and people around you. I've been working just to save money because I was scared of poverty, but I never knew my actions were of a poverty mindset. Now I realize I deserve good clothes and food and the good things of life. I realized that I ought to take care of you, my wife, and our sons. Susan froze. It all made sense now. I'm so sorry, my love, she said, voice cracking. It took facing death for me to realize I've been living like a slave to money, saving for a future I might not even see, while denying myself and my family joy. She hugged him tightly, and together they cried, not out of fear, but relief. Moral lessons. Life is far too short to be stingy. Whether it's with your love, your money, or your time. Some people hold joy like it's gold, waiting for the right moment to enjoy life. But what if that moment never comes? What if the future you are saving for never shows up? Spend time with loved ones. Share your blessings. Wear your best clothes. Eat that special meal that you love. Eat it. Because real wealth isn't in your account. It's in your heart, your home, and the smiles you leave behind. At the end of the day, no one remembers how much you saved. They remember how much you gave. Thank you for watching, my amazing people. If you enjoyed this story, like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more powerful tales like this one. See you in the next video. Bye.